Hey, Bergforce! Okay, I know this is like really crazy. Welcome to another cool episode of GI Joburg. I'm busy sorting out some technical issues on the run here, so I'm going to introduce you to tonight's usual guests, or not usual guests, our host with the most. It's Rob! Say hello to everybody, Rob.
Hey, I'm a usual guest, apparently.
You're a usual guest.
I'm here quite often.
Sorry, man, I'm like so. And then, and somebody special is joining us. It is ACDG, ACDJ, ACDC, or MCDJ, ACDC.
MCDJ.
Yeah, that guy.
Welcome.
Okay,
How you doing
and
today?
then, are you good?
I hope so. I hope I'm good.
I hope so too. And the last little bit of ingredient that needs to go into this whole stew is my headset. And also just quickly, hello, Bergforce. How is everybody? You
Bergforce
guys
and
good?
everybody
Sound
else, welcome.
Sound
There's a
off
lot
in
of
the
people.
chat, aka
They're
the
definitely
comments.
waiting on us. I am special. Thanks, Bart.
Yes, okay, we won't have double sound. Woohoo! Okay.
Woo! No double sound. Wow, you sound sexier now. I love it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I think this is because my headset mic is kicked in.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
Hell yeah. So the power. So if you guys see my screen go dark, that's when the power goes out. So anyway. So just want to just name drop quickly. Wow, we got Gaz here. We got Brick Fiction. We got Gaz. We got Bot. What's up? We got
have Emmanuel.
Emmanuel's here.
Robert
Todd.
Kalupitan.
Oh, is Robert Kalupitan here as well? Nice. We don't
Anything
often see Robert
Joe's
in
has
these
joined
things.
us too. That's such
Yeah,
a cool
and Clemens.
picture.
So cool. So we got everybody here. Okay, cool. So tonight is kind of a special evening. Steve is not on this episode, as I'm sure you guys can all notice.
Oh my goodness.
He had some important business to attend to. Jeez, at this rate, I was almost not in this episode. And it's special. It's not special because Steve's not here. It's special because we got Mr. Creech with us.
Hey,
So, hey. So Andrew, can we just call you Andrew, right?
that's fine.
Would that be okay? Okay,
That's cool.
good. Okay, sweet. So, and this is also one of those animated series episodes, which means we're going to be talking about the cartoon and the vintage one. Or yeah, the vintage. Is it a vintage show or do we call it a retro show? I can never quite get
The original
terminology right.
cartoon. The original
The
cartoon.
original cartoon is
Vintage
20
TV show.
questions with Hector Ramirez, which is, I don't know if you guys agree with me, a totally missed opportunity for a toy. I would love a Hector Ramirez figure. Steven's
He
always
would
here.
be a lot of fun.
I don't know.
Oh,
If I had that,
yeah.
so if I had that figure, I would do the Hans shot, open it up, test figure of it, and I would throw it very hard against the wall.
So you would get, Hans to open. Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool.
That dude.
Oh,
didn't
and
even-
it's no, Hector Ramirez is such a, I don't love to hate character. I feel like he's such a like horrible. Oh, I mean, it's a caricature of modern day like news or television journalism. So, well, not modern day, 80s television journalism. So yeah, I don't know. I just always felt like we should have gotten him as a toy. I think he would have been great. Maybe we could have done it as a 2-pack with Scoop or something. That could have been fun. With Shipwreck.
Well, as Spoonkiller says, maybe Super 7 will get to them around, eventually.
I hope so. Hey, and also, what's up, Spoonkiller? Nice to see you here, dude.
And hello, Quadrinero?
Quadrinero. Yeah.
My Spanish
Cool.
is not so good.
No, it's not. Neither is mine, so no judgment, Rob.
I'm glad to see
And
you
then,
here.
Rob,
Bart's
what is
made a
the-
custom, Hector.
Oh, has he? Bart,
Hell
you
yeah.
gotta show us, man. You gotta show us. I'm sure he's posted images of it before, but he's got to show it to us again. And Rob, what is the other episode that we're going to be doing? The modern episode, the Renegades one.
Renegades,
remember
I
the name.
believe it was Firefight. Is it Firefight?
Firefight.
Correct.
That is correct. Cool.
Knew it.
Firefight.
Welcome to
So,
the fight.
just so you know, Rob and I are the worst when it comes to preparing for our podcast. Rob's only marginally worse than I am. But
It's
Rob, you can
true.
take this one. Yeah.
Paul
So,
is definitely a little bit better than I am.
So that's why
Only-
Steven meant to me when he told me good luck Thursday night. Okay.
yes, exactly. That's exactly what he meant. So,
You're
yeah.
in good hands.
You're in good hands. We might not even talk about these cartoons. I don't know. I think we should. I think we should at least talk about 20 questions because there's
for
some
sure.
fighting words already. Yeah, we got good old Andrew over here like going, I hate Hector Ramirez.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that
yeah.
show, when I was a kid, I hated it. I think as an adult, I hate it even more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Is he in more
It's a-
than one episode?
he is.
Oh,
He
for
is.
reals? Okay. I mean, I have watched the original like series, but like I don't remember him too well. I think maybe because he is a bit of a nasty man.
He is a nasty man. But you know what's kind of cool about him? And Robert Kalupitan actually, and that's quite the paragraph. Thank you, Robert. Hector Ramirez in the 80s as a universe-wide character who appeared in multiple cartoons like Transformers and GI Joe, along with Inhumanoids, Gem, etc. So is unheard of, showing these properties exist in a single universe. So that is pretty cool, actually. He's like a
Interesting. I didn't know that
yeah
at all.
yeah. So he's like irritatingly in all of these different shows. I think it's just so cool, and that's why I think we should have had him as a figure. And because I don't know if you guys remember that old GI Joe app game. It was like a card game kind of thing. You had like your characters and you went on a little map and you randomly battled. It was like 2011. That's how long
Oh,
ago
that
it was.
mobile game. Was it a mobile
Yes, the
game?
mobile game. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
mobile game. And so, pardon me. Always happens when Steve's not here that I burp on the episode. Anyway, there was a special like sort of event that had Hector Ramirez as well, which I thought was quite cool, and I remember being quite excited about that and really feeling that my fun bone was being tickled. This is where we need Steve to go. Oh, nobody's tickling people's fun bones here or something. But anyway. So, Rob, would you mind breaking down? Actually, wait. Before we get into the cartoon, yes, I've got this whole show so well planned out in my head.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's start with Andrew. You recently celebrated a special day, and I just want to just mention I did not get a notification because I would have totally wished you on your day. I feel like your birthday was like.
Because you unfriended me.
I didn't unfriend you. No, say it isn't so. I would not unfriend you. No. That's not cool. I wouldn't ghost you like that. But yeah, man. It was your birthday recently, so happy birthday, happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Hell yeah.
Cool to have you on the show. And it's actually cool to hear you. I think the last time you were on the show with us, you were unboxing. Was it? I keep thinking it was like a classified figure.
I mean,
Which one was it?
2019 was the only last time I went over.
Ah,
Yeah,
2019. Wow.
I know it feels like a lifetime ago. So
what did you
before
do
we
for your
get-
birthday, Andrew?
Yeah,
This
but-
year?
I worked.
No.
Oh.
Life of an adult.
Did
Yeah,
you get anything cool for your birthday though?
I did.
Yes.
I was talking to Steven. I've been ordering a bunch of the core vehicles, so I've been working on that collection.
Oh, sweet.
Before GI Joburg does another episode on it, the prices skyrocket again.
No, that's. I mean, I don't know. I've never actually seen any evidence of that, but yeah, man. I hope the
It'll
core.
happen eventually.
It's gonna happen eventually, but the core stuff is so cool. Like it's hit this special. I think the core stuff's always had this kind of coolness to it. Even the vintage stuff, I know it's always kind of had this like, sort of this odor of being a GI Joe knockoff brand, which that's not mince words here. It is, but it's a really good one, I feel, and it managed to endure. It managed to live longer. It managed to be better than itself. And in some ways kind of endured longer than GI Joe. I think technically Core has been running longer than GI Joe now, technically, because there were
Probably.
years. Yeah, because there were years. I can't think of a year where there wasn't any Core figures, but I can think of years when there weren't any GI Joes. So
And like GI Joe, Core also did reinvent themselves quite often as they went along.
mm,
Like when GI Joe tried modern era, the modern era figures, Core also kind of like attempted something new with their figures, with new construction. And for a time, like the Core figures, I think me and Steven played with them more than we did GI Joes, because they just produced like a really cool line of figures at one point, where like these are our main characters.
for me,
Yeah.
it was the vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like the
Andrew?
vehicles. I bought a Ridge recently, and some of you guys are familiar with he's like a creator of custom vehicles and paint jobs. Anyways, Cyber Crew Custom, and he's really good. He hangs out at Joe Fest every year as well too. And I sent a bunch of the core vehicles to him for painting and whatnot, kind of blend them into the GI Joe line. So I'm really excited to get those back.
Cool, man. Yeah, like why? Okay, have you got any special kind of customs like planned, or did you ask him to surprise you?
We kind of do both. Most of them are planned, and then he'll get it and then be like, "Hey, do you mind if I do this or that?" Kind of put my own spin to it. And I'm like, "Yeah, man, shoot for it, go for it." The two biggest ones I'm excited to get back are the Sky Knight that Steven bought recently and reviewed. I've had them for about a year, and then I sent them off to him, and they're going to be painted up like in the Slaughter watercolors. So they'll be like they'll match my Police Bomber that I did last year in the Slaughter Marauders covers.
Crazy, man. Okay, so that's cool. Then at least you're all about like, what's the word I'm looking for? You're all about giving him that creative freedom, and that's cool. It's always nice when you get to work with people that kind of they know what they want, but they also like, give it your touch. That's always fun.
Yeah, and if you're not happy with results, he says, "Hey, I'll make it right. Just let me know." He's a really cool dude.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's another thing. If the work can be guaranteed in some way, that's also great. And I think with the customs market, especially, there is a very high. Well, there's a strong need for people to be sort of accountable, because it's a very niche community, and of that niche community, very few of those guys actually do commissions. So you have to keep that standard up, and I think everybody has to kind of come together with that and make sure that it works.
Yeah, and it's really word of mouth that really gets these guys more commissions and more work. So I mean, it's always in their best interest to kind of be the best they can be. And that's kind of
Best
cool.
of the best of the best, sir. Honest. And before we move on to the cartoon, any like super new purchases that you guys have done this past week, toy wise? Anything new that arrived in your lives?
I don't have anything new, unfortunately. I've been too busy working. Nothing new.
I have the
Nothing new.
same story. I've also been too busy working. There is a Berg Force member who has sent you some stuff recently, Rob.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, I can't say much more than that. So we'll be seeing that soon. So that's exciting. So when that arrives,
yeah.
and it should arrive just before you get here for Comic-Con. So
Excellent.
yeah,
So
so maybe
we can do a cool unboxing when I'm there.
yeah,
Welcome.
we can do an unboxing. So that'll be awesome. And yeah, that's something that's pretty cool. And you, Andrew, anything new? Did you pick up any good toys? Any bad toys? Any horrible toys?
Actually, other than the core, and of course the usual classified that everybody else is getting in on the pre-orders, I did pick up. I can't remember if it's Mission something. Anyways, it's everybody's seen it. It's that black Apache. It's 1/18 scale. It's 2. It's got like the shark tooth sticker in the front. I wish I could remember the name of it. Anyways, I found it mint in a box on eBay for like $80 plus shipping. So I scooped that up and was super stoked about it because it's large.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Please, when you get a chance, if you haven't already, put some images on the Facebook.
Will do.
Yes, We're old. We have Facebook, but maybe we can pop it up on Insta as well. I'd love to check that out. You just like said big Apache, so I mean you kind of have my attention already. So that's something special. And the classified figures, I know that for me, in at least in Big Bad Toy Store, in my pile of loot, I've got a shipwreck. I got bazooka, and I have torpedo. Before I go and say the wrong person, but no, it is torpedo. And I'm very excited about those three in particular. Like, I didn't think I would be excited about a bazooka figure, but I think they really knocked it out of the park. And Shipwreck is as a favorite character, and Torpedo just looks like an amazing toy. So,
The one I'm most
have you got
excited
them
about,
yet?
the one I'm most excited about is, of course, everybody else is kind of butthurt because you can only order one if you're lucky to get it. But that Cobra Eagle looks amazing. I'm so waiting to, hopefully things, more production comes in and people can get them. But so want at least a couple of them.
I don't know what's the story behind the eel. Is it an exclusive or is it a regular release?
Initially, I think you can only get it on Hasbro Pulse, and I even had Pulse. And I logged in as soon as that notification, and you can only get one, and they were gone. I think, I'm sorry, and Amazon had them too. And Amazon was the same way. They listed it, and then next thing you know, currently unavailable in just a matter of minutes. I can't remember though if Amazon had a limit on how many you could buy or not, but Hasbro Pulse you could only get one.
That's crazy. It's like they don't want people to have the figure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have seen some like typical like fanboy mutterings on the internet about his neck being very long, but I don't know if that's just because it's just not fully popped in, that you can just pop it in properly. Some guys have been complaining about that, but I don't know if they're complaining so much as just making a joke about it. So maybe there are some quality control issues, and that's why they are so scarce. Maybe the next run will be much better. So maybe being the second rat, you get the cheese, in this one. So let's hope.
Hope so.
Don't jump on things too early. Well,
Yeah.
Bart in the chat's got his range viper. He says it's quite
Nice.
sweet.
Sweet.
And also welcome WJ and JoeFan84. Glad to have you here.
Rad. And there was somebody else as well that sort of snuck in here as well. We got JoeFan84. Oh, you said, oh, okay. You said WJ, and I always say it as Dabuya J in my mind.
Oh, Moonlight 47 joined? Yeah.
Yeah. Moonlight 47.
And he makes a good point. At one point, even GI Joe became Battle Core. They also became the core.
Yeah, they became a
no
core
one took it
knockoff.
away from it.
No, nobody. Okay, so Rob, you're gonna have to do the job of summing up this episode. I just feel like you're gonna be of 20 questions, yeah, for the audience, because there's a lot of people that haven't watched the show yet, so no pressure.
I did see that. I saw in the comments earlier, people were like speed watching it quickly before joining. So basically, the GI Joes are practicing, and then this reporter shows up on the scene with this shady-looking dude, who is convinced that the Cobra does not exist, and the taxpayers are wasting their money on the GI Joe team. So this reporter is now coming there to kind of like investigate and figure out, like, is America wasting its money? And so the guys on the ground don't want to deal with this. They take them back to the base, and Flint, for some reason, chooses Shipwreck to babysit them. And Shipwreck, with his temper, if he gets so upset with these guys, he's like, "I'm going to prove to you that Cobra exists." And he decides,
top secret, let's go.
He's like, "I'm going to prove it. So I'm going to take you out there into the battlefield. And then you're going to know that Cobra's real, because they're going to kill you, and then you'll really know that they're real."
Yeah.
So they get landed in some sort of trap, springy a Cobra trap, and they get taken underground, where it turns out this Weasley dude that's kind of trying to convince people that Cobra doesn't exist is actually the Baroness. I did not see that was coming. Her body was like this kind of like dumpy, like nerdy dude, and then she takes the mask off, and suddenly, like, oh my god, it's the Baroness. Like, you take the mask off, and that deflates whatever like disguise she was wearing, and it's like It was always the Baroness. That was I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So by this
Normally,
point,
Baron. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Carry on. No, it's
So
just
by this
normally the
point,
Baroness
Duke,
customs are. I'm going to talk over you, and then I'm going to say
Go for it.
sorry, and then I'm going to let you speak. Maybe I might interrupt you again. Let's see what
No,
goes.
keep going,
Let's
keep
see what
going,
happens.
keep going. Don't keep going. Okay, so Duke eventually arrives on the scene. They realize the shipwreck's being, he's missing, and the whole Joe team tries to show up and help out. And the Dreadnoks are kind of like destroying some sort of gas factory. They steal a whole bunch of different types of gas because they're like, they don't, explosive gas is cool, but laughing gas is pretty cool too. You can definitely use that against bad
Laughing
guys,
gas.
against the Joes. So the Joes managed to infiltrate this hidden cave base of Cobra, and all of the gas explodes. Everyone's laughing, and Cobra's plan is completely ruined. He somehow manages to escape, as usual, and the Joes have filched their entire plan. Or not filched, they've ruined this, Cobra's plan to steal gas.
Gas.
And there's some nice
Lo-
featured characters in this. I mean, you get Shipper featured, Baroness is there, Alpine does a lot of cool like alpining. Cover Girl is featured in the episode too.
Stephen makes a
so
point.
Oh yeah, Stephen in the comments says
You
she
made
was
a
always
good point.
clutching something to hide her chest while in disguise to hide her enormous
That
babs.
briefcase. That's very interesting. You're right, because the character's always holding that briefcase in the chest area. How about that?
It's true, but also like still the character was still drawn. Like the sides were still drawn, kind of like it was kind of like a little like chubby dude essentially. So that completely took me off guard. I didn't realize that was the Baroness at all.
I remember that
for a second there, I was like, are you guys talking about
Crazy.
Cover Girl? I got confused. Sorry, carry on.
Oh no, I'm just putting out there that there's other characters in the show.
So we're sort of treating this like a podcast where you can see a little bit of video now, because we have no images, because that's how great we are. But it's also just because our images are full, because we just did this like special feature episode, which the patrons will have early access to, which is pretty cool. So that's coming out soon. I think Steven's busy on the edits for that, actually. Anyway, don't you find like the GI Joe HQ, like they're watching Spider-Man?
Yeah, that was a cool Easter egg.
That was a cool Easter egg, but also don't you find that like HQ that they in that like rec room looks a lot like the lounge from Spider-Man and his secret friends or super friends or whatever the heck that show was called? You know, the one with the it's him and Firewoman and Iceman? Firebrand. Yeah, and then the table does that flipsy flopsy thing. It goes wow wow, and then,
yeah.
This room looks like it's that room. I don't know why. I mean,
maybe because of Spider-Man being on the TV, it kind of like you have that association now. Firestar and Iceman.
Firestar, yes, I thought so. Yeah, I wanted to say Firestar, but I'm like, was it Firestar? I can't remember. Anyway, also nice little deep cut is Scarlet. Not only are they watching Spider-Man on TV, Scarlet has actually got a Spider-Man comic in hand. So this is fairly early on in the episode. They're just chilling, and this is after the whole argument with Flint and Hector Ramirez and all of that stuff. And then we also got Thunder. Like, you're talking about like squeezing in characters into this episode. We got Thunder as well. Sorry, I'm actually just scrubbing through the YouTube as I'm doing this so that I can see the images because, memory. And
share it with us, Paul.
I'm going to try. So let me see if I can do it because I have this like crazy. Yes, there we go, Robert. Hold on, let me just do this. Robert Kalupita nailed it. It's Spideen and his amazing friend.
He's an amazing friend, yeah.
Yeah, all good. I also like to
and welcome Ryan to the broadcast and
yes.
Inutabi.
Right.
Inutabi. Oh,
Inutabi. Yeah, it's Tabi.
Well, we picked a new, call him a new table. That'll work too.
A new table.
A new table. Yep.
Hey, new
table. He's a local Joe fan. Hey, he's a South African Joe fan. Just putting that out there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try and share my screen. I hope this works well. Yeah, Here we go. I hope I don't get into trouble with the YouTube gods.
Well, as
Because
long as
now
you're pausing it, I mean, just show screenshots. Don't play the video.
Yeah. So I was hoping it would actually just show the video, but I mean, not the video, but I was hoping it would actually just at least make it full screen instead of showing, that I'm not subscribed to Hasbro.
Who is? Who is?
Who is subscribed to Hasbro? Let us know. So this dude, is such a shit stirrer, this Baroness in weird guy costume. And Ryan said something about him giving a what? I bet that Baroness calls many dudes chubbies. Yes, I'm sure many an awkward boner.
He's a
Anyway,
fantastic disguise. Like
Yeah.
it really was a twist when he pulled that off and it was Baroness.
For me, because I didn't like this episode, but remember watching it as a kid, I knew that character was somebody in disguise, but did not know who until watching it earlier this morning. I was like, I'll be. It's like, I did not realize that was going to be the Baroness. Totally forgot about that as a kid.
Yeah, I actually totally forgot about that as an adult because when I peeked the episode as well, I thought, okay, maybe he's Zartan. I thought oh, it's Zartan, but then they show you Zartan, and I
Right.
was like, oh,
Someone
okay.
else is in disguise. Maybe it's Serena.
Serena, and then we
Yeah.
have so then we got good old Shipwreck, and I can't seem to get this thing to stop spinning. It's just
It's
it could
fine.
not care. It hates me so much right now. There we go. So now we got old Shipwreck. He's trying to prove to everybody that to these guys, war is real, Cobra Command is real, Cobra is real. He's shame. And then we got
Very spacious dragonflies they have in the show.
massive cheers. Wow. I mean,
3
dude, there's
people in the back and a camera.
It's
and
the,
a camera.
it's
That's
the
what I was
mass
gonna say.
device edition.
It's insane, and it actually looks a bit like Shipwreck is standing more than he's sitting in that thing. I know you can sort of see the line there, but it looks more like he's standing, like he's riding a boat. So his ego gets the better of him, and he's like, I gotta go improve everything, and then
It's just wild to me that Flint decides to choose Shipwreck. I mean, obviously it's some sort of punishment for his overacting during the exercises earlier, but it's such a bad choice on Flint's part to make.
Well, it's also a bad choice. I mean, how many news people do you know break into military property and training and then say, I demand to see your superior officer? It's like, yeah, sure, buddy. Yeah, we'll stop along the brig, all right? And you can talk to him that way.
Well,
they're definitely very casual.
I think there are some serious events here that inspired events in the movie because, here Hector Ramirez and crew, they just waltz onto the GI Joe base and they just like Andrew said. But in the movie, Flint pretty much gets Falcon gets court-martialed. Falcon gets court-martialed just for taking his girlfriend there, and she dared to bring a camera, that's crazy. So GI Joe is obviously very sensitive about this after post Hector Ramirez. So what's happening here, Rob? This is Shipwreck. He's trying to prove to them that this was the missile that took them down or something like that.
Yeah, so they get knocked down by the missile launchers, and they somehow kind of stumble across them after the entire Joe team in their own dragonflies don't notice Shipwreck in them on the ground. So now he has to kind of save the GI Joes, who are actually doing a pretty good job on their own once Cobra launches their rattlers. Yeah. They're doing kind of okay. They don't really need that much help. There really are a lot of characters in this. I mean, they also have who else is in this? Ace is in this as well, but just talking. Ripcord is in it too.
Yeah, Ace and Ripcord. They asked me if he needs a co-pilot to go when he goes to go fly them up. And of course, Shipwreck's no, I'm good because all those guys are hidden in the back seats. So
they probably could have fitted more people in there. And apparently, according to Clements, at least, America did get the 4-seater dragonflies. It's weird that we didn't.
I loved it. I thought this was so good. Those are the dragonflies we got in America. Did you not get the 4-seat version there? Like, I think that's so cool. Like, good job. That's why I had a big smile earlier because I read that. That was Clemens being sneaky funny. And then also here, Clemens again with Falcon showed a girl classified info, then left his post, and they got attacked. Dereliction of duty, Article 15, at least, or court martial. I agree. But it's probably that like that because they let Hector Ramirez in the first place.
Yeah,
It's all
they learned
shipwreck's
their
fault.
lesson here, so they
They all learned
introduced
their lesson.
rules against that.
If I show you just this screenshot, what do you think is happening here? Only the wrong
So the
answers in the
screenshot
comments,
of
please.
Zartan and Torch? No,
This is
I-
Buzzer.
Buzzer. God, I hate the Dreadnoks. I always forget their names. They've taken the Joe's prisoner and Hector. I don't even know what's going on there. Welcome to our private club, guys.
Check. Is this sneaky Steven trying to sneak into our stream? Let me see. Oh, no, he's disappeared. He's haunting us, Rob. Did you see that? He's haunting us. He's like, I'm watching news. Yeah. Maybe he can't speak. But I just thought this looks really dirty. I had a good laugh at this when they're coming down the elevator. Because when Celia saw this as well, she's like, "Whoa, what kind of party are they going to?" Because she saw it completely out of context, so I had to like ask you guys. Because I mean it tracks, and then like, what's the password? Anyway, further on into the episode, now we're in this cave, Rob. And we're going to now show we've had the largest dragonfly ever made. Let's then move on to the smallest skyhawk ever made. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. Look how tiny this thing is, man.
It's like everything else they make is absolutely huge, but the Skyhawk is super tiny. But even if you look at the toy itself, it's like, how does it actually fly? Like for reals.
You pick it up with your hand and you make swish swish sounds. That's how it actually flies. That's the only way you can make that happen. It's the only way. Otherwise it's just tickets for everybody. I don't know why this caught my attention. I just thought, wow, that Skyhawk's cockpit just looks a lot smaller than it normally is, and that armor is like paper thin. Anyway, that's how you die, apparently. And also, Clemens just mentioned it's a surprise party, and the Dreadnoks are throwing it. Hey, then you know
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be good. Yeah, maybe it's at the Blue Oyster Club. Robert Kalupatan's the guy at the back was the cameraman, and
Yeah.
Moonlight 47. It's like the Sonic Fighters Apache.
Mm.
Yes, very very small, like not even for a toy, just hectic. And this is one of the worst. Like this is something I hate. It's a cartoon trope. I see it, and it's a video game trope actually, but more of a cartoon trope that you see like drilling machines that are like this, that are open at the top. Man, I hate that. Do you know why I hate that?
It probably makes absolutely no sense because
It makes
all those
no
rocks are just
sense.
going to hit you as you're trying to
As
dig
a
these tunnels.
Even as a kid, I thought that made no sense. Like if they ever made it as a toy, I would have it would have made sense. I suppose this is a show where they have things like, well, actually, they don't have the buzzballs in the show, but this is a property that has things like buzzballs and pogos and stuff. Maybe we should be more lenient, but I hate this open top rubbish. Drives me crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Everyone would die using that thing, as Viper Scout says.
It was kind
They
of
would
interesting.
die.
If you remember in the mass device, that one was sealed on the the rooftop, and then going to Rise, Serpentor Rise, when they go through the castle, Transylvania, that one was open like this one as well too. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense. 1 minute they're closed, 1 minute they're open.
They
It's
can't
just
make up their
annoying.
minds.
I can only imagine that they did it because they wanted this scene to play out. Like they had it as in a storyboard like this, and then maybe the animators were just super efficient and did these things, and they were like, oh well, we're just gonna have to use that design the whole way through or something. You never know. Sometimes animation's a funny game. Sometimes the last scenes get approved before the early scenes. It's weird. And there's some cover girl. There was a great. I'm trying to find it now. Oh, also on this shot, just because I want to be a little bit finicky, I love that they did a depth blur. I think that's really, really cool
Yeah,
because
so it's
you,
Cobra Commander and Baroness in the foreground with the drilling machine, and then it's Shipwreck, Ramirez, and the camera guy in the background. That is actually really cool. How do you even do that in animation? Do you just like blur? I don't know, like blur the lines.
in that time, I think all they did is they drew the cell pretty much like normal, and then they just when they took a photograph of it, they took an out of focus. You know, when they photographed the cell, I think they just put it out of focus. That's all
Oh,
they did.
okay.
Like
I thought there was
nothing too high
some
tech.
crazy
Yeah.
technical thing you have to do to get that effect going.
In modern day, you could use something like a blur filter or something on Photoshop or your camera app or whatever. You can do that stuff. A lot of phones these days have this like special feature where you can do that sort of depth of field blur
Too
on
easy.
a too easy on a camera. If you're using a real camera, or at least on my camera, I have to set it to f11 to get that feel. Anywhere between 8 and 11. But yeah, dude, here we have not laughing gas, laughing gas.
Laughing gas, expo gas. But it's interesting because like Cobra Commander has set up this cave because he's heard about some sort of illegal military gas that the military was going to use, but they decided not to use it and to kind of like bury it somewhere in this area that he's digging around in. But there also just happened to be an actual gas factory in the area that had all of these different types of gas
Gases.
canisters. It's just interesting that by coincidence that just happened to be in the area.
Yeah, coincidence is a bitch. And then, like, does anybody want to tell me what the problem with this shot is?
Okay, so the shot you're referring to is all the
On the
Joes that
screen.
have snuck into the cave base. Alpine and Gung Ho, Covergirl, and Spirit are now all hiding basically inside or underneath a truck of explosive gas,
Gas.
and they're wondering why no one's shooting at them.
What the hell? Like, on one hand, I think it's like really, really clever because nobody will shoot at you if everybody is sensible,
But
you
the
know?
problem is that they kind of all get into that position, but they
Yes.
don't realize until they're in position. They're like, why isn't no one shooting at us? Oh, it's because these things are marked as explosive gas. Their situational awareness is very bad. Especially
For
also,
military, for special forces, yeah, it's terrible.
they're kind of like sneaking in, and then I think Baroness shoots randomly because Shipwreck kind of uh, tussles with
She
her,
was
and then the
she was trying to
Joes.
hit Spirit. Spirit.
Yes, she was trying to hit Freedom.
Freedom. Sorry, freedom.
Because
Freedom. Correct.
Freedom, and then the Joes are like, oh god, they know we're here. We better just assault this inside base. But it's like, guys, they don't know you're there. That's just a random shot. Pay attention to what you're doing.
I still like it when you ask Gun Ho to be quiet. Like you're in a ventilation shaft in a cave, man. I'm sorry. And you're nailing, climbing spikes and rings with a hammer. There's no quiet,
Exactly. I'm just like, I almost feel like this whole scene here, when the gas gets out and everybody starts laughing and they have like serious giggle fits and stuff. I feel like this is the like cartoon equivalent of it actually exploding and going off and actually just killing everybody.
Yeah, they've basically, I mean, not failed, but they have failed. I mean, like, everything just explodes, and yes, Cobra's plan is ruined, but it's by accident. It's by chance, and there's a lot of chance in this episode as well. Them happening to go to the place that the computer tells them that there might be Cobra activity in this area, but when they do get there, it does feel like Zartan and them were expecting them. Which they were expecting them, but at the same time, it's like you have no plans to deal with them once they're there. Did you get that sense?
If you remember earlier buzzers, when Zartan was telling them to shoot down Shipwreck's Dragonfly, I think Buzzer said it had been great because he hadn't shot down something within a week or it was a couple of days. So it's like they were shooting down something previously, but it's amazing how then there's been no reports. GI Joe didn't investigate, but yet you're in the United States and Colorado and somebody's shooting down aircraft and, this is all just new. We just stumble upon it.
No one's checking it out.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, the computer somehow, maybe that's what the computer knew about. It's like they don't actually respond to every single instance of like maybe Cobra's over there.
I don't know. I think a SAM site being on US soil is definitely worth investigation. Let's not like mess around. Even if this, and I'm gonna get to like the closing moments here, but I've had it like on the screen. I've had this little shot here. So we got all the rocks going off and everybody's laughing. And
Are they all having a fantastic time trying to escape?
Later, boy.
Yeah, they are, right? So I was recently at a friend's wedding, and as is customary for a lot of weddings that I've been to, with the exception being Stephen's one, so thank you, Stephen, for yours, not having this. But DJs always invariably throw in the locomotion. You know Kylie Minogue's song?
Yeah.
Everybody's learning a brand new dance now. Yeah. And
sing it, Rob. Let's go.
yeah. And this just reminds me of it, like the way they're like walking out. I like just feel like this whole like little scene here is so meme worthy. The way they're like, anyway,
they're all trying to get out there.
All trying
But
to get out.
it's quite funny as well that they're all laughing. Like it's really funny. Like you hear Zartan with that kind of like filter over his voice. He's like, "We need to get out."
I still think it was. It's kind of good that Mr. Hector there got his just desserts. We had an interview Cobra Commander. It's like, have fun with that narcissist, dude. Enjoy yourself. Because you can tell you could tell in the interview he's like, oh boy, his legs are all crossed because Commander's laying it on thicker than BS.
Yeah, he was very uninterested in interviewing the leader of a terrorist organization. I mean, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. He should have been way more into it. But I guess he was just like, it was his opportunity to stop himself from being killed by a giant drilling machine. He didn't see the opportunity for what it was. Have a good dinner, Bart. Enjoy.
Rad. And then and we have some near on-screen romance here. So Hector Ramirez clearly digging old Duke. No, he's just
happy to be alive. He's just like, thank goodness I escaped that.
I'm so glad
situation I've ever been in my entire life.
Lies. I mean, he's seen giant talking, walking, transforming robots. Anyway.
But the episode as a whole, what did you guys think about it? Was it a good one, bad one? It's written by Buzz Dixon. So, I mean, he's a regular on the GI Joe show, cartoons, and I think he's done some of the better ones, the more interesting ones in the past.
Yeah, I find I'm trying to think of an episode specifically that Buzz Dixon has done, but I find this one to be very clever in a lot of ways. Like, I don't know if you got that, Rob. Like, because I know that you as a baseline don't like the cartoon, so you want the cartoon to impress you.
I'm not saying that I don't like them. They're fun. Obviously, I prefer the comic books. The ones I have read. I like the more realistic approach. But in rewatching them now, I mean, I did watch them all once, but rewatching them again, I have come to appreciate them for what they are. It's just like another taste, another version of GI Joe that you can enjoy.
They have a charm to them, a whimsy.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, hello, Darren. Darren nails it here with this episode. It's a goss. Laughing goss. Yeah. That's the big one that Buzz did. Hold on, just a commenter here. Stephen Jubber. Buzz pretty much wrote the movie after Ron Friedman wadded off the project. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for your support of the show, as always.
That's But yeah, I think it's a fun episode overall. I mean, there were surprises. Like I was genuinely, I mean, I've said it a couple of times now, but I really didn't realize that the Baroness was that dude. And it's a nice setup, where this reporter's trying to, interview GI Joe and just like, do Cobra exist? Don't they exist? And all the coincidences make for a more interesting episode where it's not just Cobra's plan coming to fruition or them purposely trying to stop Cobra's plan, which is most of the episodes. It's just by chance or because of the events that unfold through the episode, they do foil his plans.
Yeah.
Which I quite enjoyed. It's not just like full on assault like a lot of episodes do tend to have at the end of the episodes. It's them sneaking in. They have like a firefight inside the cave. I think overall it's a really fun episode. I would definitely and I am giving a rating, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5.
Oh wow.
I think it was I think it's a lot of fun. And yes, the Dreadnoks are in it, and I'm not the biggest fan of the Dreadnoks, but they're used in a way that makes sense to the story, and I think Buzz has a good grasp of the characters in general.
I just want to just throw in Viper Scout's comment here from earlier. Also, how's it about Viper Scout? Was Airtight there? You would kind of think that he would be. Yes, it is definitely a missed opportunity for Airtight, but thankfully we do see Airtight a little later, and again, should I say, and his episode is awesome. I love his episode. It's off the wall. Rob, I'm gonna.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think having him there, I mean, if they knew what the situation was, he would definitely be there. But because it was so off the cuff and so unplanned, so unexpected, they didn't even know to have him there, to be, to kind of counter the gas.
The gas. Yeah, he couldn't deal with the gas. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good answer. I of course was just like, he should have been there. There's gas. We should have Airtight. But show's already been made, right? I was and one of the other reasons I brought up Viper Scout here, he mentions they mentioned it kind of got political, and that I kind of like about this show, about this episode in particular.
Political how?
I'm not. It talks about the military-industrial complex and how like how taxpayer money is used for a lot of that. Now, they are big arguments. We're not going to have that argument here. I'm not picking a side on the fence because honestly, I don't have a dog in the race. But I think it's interesting that they try to make sort of kind of try to create this awareness of this concept. And then I also like that, and this is away from being political now, and this is sort of where it gets a bit meta and almost a little bit like kind of Metal Gear Solid-ish, where he's like questioning the existence of Cobra, and if you have to like take a few seconds and think about it, what if GI Joe was actually making all this shit up? Like, what if GI Joe and Cobra were the same thing, and Cobra was just working for the government to be an enemy that they can stage
great opportunities for the government to spend money.
And to make strategic and political decisions. I'm not saying it is that. I'm just saying in a Metal Gear Solid type of world of a game, that could be a very interesting concept. Because I like that. And I wonder, I would love to know if that was Buzz's intention or what his true intention was with that. Or maybe we're just digging too deep into it as we do here on the show. Rob, I'm also going to give it a 4. I think it's a totally ridiculous episode. Hector Ramirez irritates the living hell out of me, but he's an enduring character, not an endearing
means
one.
He's well written. If a cartoon character gets to you like that.
Yeah, if you want to slap him, you're like, damn, and that's great. That's character. That's really well written, and I think the show is cool. I think they squeeze in all these GI Joes. I kind of feel like the whole Spider-Man and Super Friends thing was a Easter egg. So if it is, yay. If it's not, also yay, because that's what I got from it. And yeah, it's just random to see characters like Thunder in the background, and just had like some gnarly moments. Also, that depth, that focal blur. Like, I dig that. I mean, we see it a lot in cartoons in the old days, but it's just always nice to see. And you, Andrew, is it like a whole 1 or 2? I don't know.
No, it's not more than a 2 in my book.
Ah,
I went back and looked. I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he got shot down. Like I said, and with cartoons, let me back up. It's like we got to keep in mind that it's a cartoon, so therefore all that stuff is not realistic. And sadly, being adult, we start trying to put the realism in the cartoon. So to me, it just kills me to see like the way I remember it. And this morning, that he dodges all the missiles with the helicopter, but then somehow loses control because it stalls. I'm like, come on, man! How do you dodge all these sand missiles and all of a sudden it stalls? And then versus a helicopter, helicopters don't glide, as you know. They just fall
straight down.
And he kind of glides it down. I was like, all right, whatever. But to me, if it wasn't for the puns here and there, and like I said, the cool characters, got to see Wild Weasel because he's definitely one of my favorites. I like the base where the water drained, and then of course in the base doors open up and the raptors fly out. I thought it was pretty cool. Zartan is always one of my favorites. Anytime Zartan's in there, just his character is amazing. Of course, who thought the Baroness was the undercover person? So if those hadn't been there, yeah, I probably was like, no, I'm not even going to comment. But it gets a 2 for me.
Okay, cool. So that's Rob. So the magical list is 4
Well,
for
fair
you,
enough.
4,
Fair enough. Yeah.
4 for Mr. Creech. 4 for me, and 2 from Mr. Creech. And Stephen, if you're watching, I'd love to know what your score is.
Welcome, Ellen,
No.
to the live broadcast, and welcome, Aaron, Payne's Toy Samples. Hello.
Yeah, and also feel better soon from Payne's Toy Samples. Like, that sounds hectic, Aaron. Like, Aaron, I hope you like feel better soon, bro. Like, that's horrible. A lot of my friends around here are sick as well. So, yeah, I hope you on the speedy recovery. Viper Scout mentions here, definitely based on Geraldo, and some people have slapped him and a lot more want to. There you go, totally. And that's an interesting thing. Like characters like that, TV personalities like that did very well. Steven gives it a 3. You might notice
Wow.
that he's the only guest that we asked for a score. Anyway, yeah.
Now, if you had put Satin in there or Honda Lou, yeah, I'd have gave it a 4 easily.
Oh, hell yeah.
Easy. Yeah,
We
maybe
should re-edit
I'm
the episode.
gonna sound like such a typical guy, but I would love some of those female Cobra Troopers.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get to that episode.
Oh, we had
soon.
Cover Girl, we had Baroness was in here. There's a couple of ladies in here.
That's the problem. You should be grateful.
No, enough.
That you got.
Oh, okay.
Clearly,
We should
it's
be
not
grateful
enough.
what we get.
I mean, it's like literally every woman in GI Joe, with the exception of Jinx and Jay.
I don't mind this version of Cover Girl. I mean, I still got to have Cover Girl, but I just like the one from the Mass Device, the blonde hair. Because you kind of already got a redhead Scarlet, so why not have a long blonde hair female and leave her like she was in the Mass Device? But it is what it is.
It is what it is. I think that was something silly happened there because I know like one of the whole things with Cover Girl is, yes, she's a model that decided to leave that life and become a mechanic, specifically a tank driver and mechanic. Okay,
was
cool.
it a boo-boo for the toy?
Was it
Well, I was going to say, like, did whoever drew this whatever direction they got, so they drew her blonde, and the next thing you know, Hasbro's like, no, you didn't look at the toy. The toy, she's redhead and or kind of brownish short hair, and the guy was like, oh, my bad, oops,
my bad. Or maybe it was meant
I
to be
wanted
the
to
other
make
way
her
around.
stand out against the other characters,
Yeah, maybe the model sheet she was blonde, and then like when they got to the factory, maybe a whole bunch of things could have gone wrong. There could be they didn't have the right yellow to do the blonde.
Gotcha.
The yellow could have been suspicious. Like the
Yeah.
paint could have been like suspicious, and they weren't allowed to use it. Or like they got a bad batch, and then they had to correct.
Oh, at
Maybe
MSG in it.
at the
When you
last
lick your
second-
fingers, you get poisoned.
Well, dude, I mean, let's not mess around. But of all the colors, yellow is actually one of the most toxic. Just putting that out there. Maybe it was just too expensive to give the toy blonde hair. I don't know. There's lots of reasons. We could make up a whole bunch of reasons.
We can
should
make up tons
a
of
whole bunch of
reasons.
reasons. But
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
before we move
so
on, Darren
Mm.
Darren enjoyed your conspiracy theory, and he says that explains why they go to such great pains not to kill any of their opponents. You know, if
Mm.
Cobra was an invention of GI Joe, they are working together. Makes
imagine
sense.
that. Do, 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 do. Imagine that. I kind of like that idea. I feel like that's a great, and I'm gonna throw this word out there, Rob. Multiverse.
Whoa,
Ruh-roh.
whoa! Oh no, not
Whoa.
multiverse. We have too many of
Not
those these days.
multiverse. I love how Toy Galaxy rips that off every time. And it always
Oh,
gives
but
me
the
such a great chuckle.
multiverse.
Multiverse. Like the ultimate band-aid for everything is multiverses.
That
Yeah,
solves any problem.
when you've written yourself in a corner, multiverse. Lilu multiverse. Anyway, Rob, I'm going to rely on you again because this is going to because I feel like
Again?
I'm talking a lot. Yeah, I talk too
I
much.
think it's very unfair that I need to summarize both episodes. Come on, Paul.
I don't think so. I don't think so because I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I have trouble. Like, I don't know how to
You have
sum this
trouble
up.
remembering these episodes?
It's I basically feel like this is the episode with Firefly. GI Joe is here. GI Joe runs into Firefly, and then this is what happens, right? I'm so disappointed by the design of Firefly, and I get deer in the headlights. I'm like, Firefly's in this episode. Why? What's happening? Why am I upset with this episode? I actually, it's like it's cartoon. It's cartoon traumatic stress disorder. Let's call it that. With as much respect to the term as possible. I mean, I'm just making a joke. Of course, PTSD is not a laughing matter, but yeah, I just don't understand this. So like, they get there to a town. The town's protesting. Whoopie doo. And then, sorry, I'm trying to get this to like show on the screen as well. But anyway, so yeah, Rob, you're gonna have to help me fill in some of the gaps here.
So
'cause
they're
my brain just broke.
protesting, and I think it's some sort of development that Cobra is kind of involved in, and the
dam.
town is yes, and the town is very against it. They don't want this to happen. They don't need this. Even the Baroness shows up to try and convince the town that this is the right thing to do.
You want the
must work
dam.
with us. You want the dam. It's good for you. It's good for us.
Damn.
Damn this dam. But the townsfolk are unconvinced. So Cobra has Firefly go in and start destroying, parts of the town, to kind of convince the town that you need to come on board with what we're doing. Obviously, there's not a direct connection, or there's not supposed to be. But so obviously, this piques the interest of the Renegades, and they started taking a very a bigger interest in the dam itself, and they discover that there's shady stuff going on here with Cobra.
But they don't intentionally go to the dam, do they? Don't they?
No,
like
not at
no,
first.
they're just like passing through. They were like us.
Yeah,
looking
they're
for
on
a
their way
Burger
through.
King.
Well,
Yeah.
what seems to happen a lot especially with the Renegades, because they are on the run. They often do land in these situations, and Cobra themselves also often involve themselves in the situations too, which is, I suppose, to the Renegades' advantage, because they uncover more about Cobra as they go along.
Yeah, right about here was Scarlet talks about. I think she's still called Scarlet in this episode, right? Or this series?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember she's like, "Hey, my contact agent says we should check out the dam as well too." And of course, you'll see Snake Eyes come riding in on a motorcycle here shortly, and it's her contact. Yep.
And we got the. I don't know why we didn't get this Baroness figure. I'm kind of annoyed. I like the design of this Baroness figure.
I like her. I mean, the Baroness is cold-hearted, but this Baroness, I've never seen this whole series through. I've only seen a couple of episodes, and my gosh, she is cold-hearted to a T. I mean, she will not hesitate to kill you and just go have lunch and then go wherever afterwards.
Yeah, that corporate life. But I just love this figure. I love this design because I feel like I thought the short hair thing was quite brave, and they would only really go back to this again in the Snake Eyes movie, and kind of sad because like the Snake Eyes movie, take it for what it is, or whatever you thought about it. I love the design. A lot of the visual stuff was done very well, at least to my eye. And I especially thought they chose a great actor for the Baroness. And so yeah, it's cool to see that somebody was experimenting with some short hair designs here. And what's happening here?
Well,
Oh yeah, this is yeah.
if the
Sorry,
show
sorry.
had kept on going, we probably would have gotten a lot more Renegades action figures.
That part there is where Scarlet and Snake Eyes go off to investigate the dam, look at the blueprints, and then, if you watch it, he throws her down on the brush real quick, and she's like, "What the crap?" And of course, being Snake Eyes, being ninja, he sensed basically Cobra Patrol coming by and just check out what's going on.
Those are cool figures. This just looks like a bad wallpaper, like on wallpapers.com. This background artist, I don't know. Like, I get it and I don't get these backgrounds. They're so hit or miss for me. Should stop complaining. I can't do anything about it.
Cheers,
he's
Robert
probably way more.
Kalupitan in the
Cheers,
comments. Hope
Robert.
you have a good
Later,
breakfast and
Robert.
have a good and a
one,
fantastic
Robert.
day ahead. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool guys, I'll see you later.
Sweet. Outback Stew. Outback Stew is here. What's up, Outback
Hell yeah.
Stew?
Hey.
Very cool. So anyway, so randomly buildings start like blowing
Burning.
up and burning and all kinds
Like, what's
of stuff
going on
happens.
here? And then this is how they introduced barbecue into the Renegades universe.
Yeah, he's around.
He is
somewhere.
the
There he is.
firefighter.
Oh
Yeah,
crap!
well, he's
I'm
there,
trying
but
to
he's
get it
also
somewhere.
when the aircraft landed and the Baroness is first stepping out of it. He was there trying to stick up for Cobra, saying that they need him in that town.
Very suspicious. And he has a burned hand like Firefly does.
Actually,
Wait.
if I get the story right, when Barbecue's telling his story about something got taken from him from a fire, it kind of made it seem like it was Firefly from his past, but it never really says it.
So
It's
there's
some of the
some
guy
sort
that
of
likes to play
connection.
with fire, and he's blah blah blah, and promised myself that I would never lose something like that again. I don't know. It just kind of seemed like it was relating it to Firefly was the bad guy from his past.
They do suggest a lot of stuff in the show rather than just show it all the time, which is kind of cool.
Because even with that, when they're fighting in the helicopter in the end, Firefly's telling them, the Barbecue's like, I mean, we're the same. We both like this. And of course, Barbecue's like, no, I'm not the same. There's a difference, so.
Oh, guys, sorry. Thank you, Vincent396. You rock too, bro. And thank you.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you for digging the show and digging the podcast and all that good stuff. And for these awesome vibes. Much appreciated. Thank you,
The
Vincent.
Bob Squad.
And
Yeah,
there's the
welcome,
Bob
Bob.
Squad. Greetings from
From California.
California. Speaking of California, I'm watching this awesome TV series. Yes, it's a total mom show.
Californication?
No, I love that show. That show's great.
It's a great
no,
mom show.
It's a great mom show. Yeah, watch that one with your mom. No, I've been watching this show called The Rookie. With Nathan Fillion.
Oh, Nathan Fillion from Firefly.
From Firefly and Castle and Buffy and geez, a whole bunch. What is that really
Shivers?
cool horror?
No, not Shivers. Slivers.
But you're close.
No?
Slither. Yeah, Slither. Those.
There we go.
That was so
Another
great.
James
Anyway.
Gunn property.
Yeah.
Movie.
So Nathan Fillion just really rocking the screen there. Great show. Anyway, enough plugging that show. They're not giving me money to plug it. But great cast and good direction and writing for the show. Anyway, moving right along. So yeah, we got Barbecue doing his thing here. And
so what is it about this design of Firefly that you don't appreciate? I mean, he's done up in gray. I mean that's like Firefly is. What is it about him that you don't enjoy?
Hold on, I just want to see if I can get a good still here. Okay.
There we go.
So he's got this little bit of his nose that shows. And it really irritates me. Somehow it's not in there, but it's like that on the toy.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this design because the toy, and you guys know me. You guys know that I'm all about giving a design or a toy or something a chance, not the background artist for the show. I don't like giving that person too much of a chance. Seriously, they had one fucking job. Anyway, but this toy design, it's annoying. It's an annoying figure. it has so much potential to do cool stuff, but the head sculpt is right. It doesn't feel like Firefly. It doesn't feel like a bad guy. It doesn't feel saboteur enough for me. I don't know. There's just it was a
Is he too
serious risk.
casual? Is it? I mean, it's mainly just like a skin tight top. With,
Can I be
with
honest?
maybe like
It's that we
pants
see
on.
It's that we see the bottom of his nose. It's like, you know, you get Batman. Okay, so if you look at my video screen, you get Batman. This is I'm Batman.
Mhm.
Then you get Daredevil. I'm Daredevil. And then you have I'm Firefly. It's like it annoys me so much. I'm like, I don't want to see his nose. It's kind of, I don't know. I just think it's a dumb thing to have done. I do recall that a lot of fans were very upset with this. And you know, the internet can be like that. You know, we can us collectively on the internet, we can always be like, oh, I hate this. They ruined my childhood. This is not my Firefly. Hashtag not my Wolverine. Whatever. But this Firefly sucks.
Well,
Like the
Paul,
design
you're
sucks.
now on probably one of the coolest scenes. Well, you're clicking
Yes.
around too much. But probably the highlight, or the standout scene of this episode for me at least, is the fight on the cable car, which I thought
Yes.
was really cool because you finally get to see the Baroness fighting one of the Joes, because up to this point she's been very like in the background, you know, like giving the orders. But in this episode she's very upfront, you know, with what she's being involved with.
For me, there was 2 points. This one, like you talked about, with her fighting, and then of course, then on top of the car, where she doesn't negotiate with the enemy, and she don't care who you drop off the top. She don't care. No, that was so awesome. And then of course, the other one for me is when we get to when they stop Firefly for the second time on top of the dam. When Snake Eyes drags his sword across the freaking thing, it's just like, to me, it's like he's just telling him, it's freaking game on, dude. And I was like,
Yeah.
I've never seen this series, so I didn't know if there was beef between him and Firefly, like personal vendetta, because I haven't seen this series. But when he dragged that sword across the concrete, it was just kind of like, you're not getting off this damn alive. I mean, it's just not happening.
So that
Yeah, that's a very cool moment.
I like that kind of implies like exactly what Andrew said now. So this show doesn't ever like reveal any connection to them as far as I can remember. But that shows that there could be connection between the two of them, which, you know, there is in the comic book. So I love that. I thought that was very, very cool. I thought that was kind of a nice nod. So I'm just trying to see if I can get that shot of him dragging, but he doesn't. Anyway, but yes, the way he issues that challenge is very cool. Stephen Jubber in the comments asks, Metal Gear Solid 2, didn't the bomb-setting boss on rollerblades have his nose sticking out? Is this a reference to that? You're thinking of Fat Man. Yeah.
That's literally the character's name. Paul is not
It's
fat
called
shaming.
Fat Man. I'm not fat shaming. But the thing is, Fat Man was a very interesting character design. Firstly, he was a giant character. He had like massive armor because he kind of had like an EOD suit. And he was on rollerblades.
It was anachronistic, you know,
bombs.
kind of like this big man, but he had on rollerblades and he moved faster than you expected him to.
Yeah, so if I'm gonna make a comparison, like Steve suggests, that is an inspiration, but I'm gonna make a comparison first. For Fat Man, this isn't a feature of his character design. It's just part of the whole image, and it somehow doesn't distract it doesn't cause any problems. And I also know that I think there's Russian military gear that also has that. And that's where that makes sense. So I think this could be relating to that, because there's like tactical gear. I think it is the Russian military that has like the slightly exposed nose on the mask or something like that. I could be wrong, but I have seen that before in images. But yeah, was Fat Man an inspiration? No, but I think the same thing that inspired some of the designs on Fat Man could have been an inspiration for Firefly's design. I just feel the look completely betrays the character because, guys, admittedly, for as horrible as Firefly looks, he's a really cool character. He is very well.
Yeah, what he does is really cool.
character.
He's very interesting in this episode, but also like the yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with it. It's nice to see a different Firefly because, you know, obviously, like in, you know, Arrow series, you know, cold calculating guy, tough guy, but it's also kind of see somebody who does this stuff. Probably we would agree is not always. I would say they're probably off their rocker more than anything. I mean, so it's nice to see him when he talks to himself and how kind of basically you can tell how warped his mind is. I mean, he knows his stuff, but he's like anything. If you read MOs of people who even set bombs or whatever, they want to see their I don't know what you want to call it. They want to see their end result. They want to see their artwork, for a better lack of terminology, go off.
Yeah.
And paint.
Yeah,
So
they want to see the burn.
Yep. So each time they keep looking at Firefly, when he throws his stuff, but he still stings around, man. He loves to see it.
It's a very
that
good
was very clever.
characterization. It feels very real. But also like the show, I think they do add these nice kind of characterizations to a lot of the characters that they introduce. But also the show is such like a missed opportunities. Viper Scout earlier pointed out, it drives me nuts they didn't have toy line ready for the show. Even Resolute got a couple of 5-packs. They put all their eggs in the movie basket, when they were producing toys at this time. And because the show's cancelled so quickly, they really did miss a lot of opportunities to like continue the show. And often the story is, well, not subtle, but I mean, it's not like hitting you over the head with when they do have these sort of cameos of like extra characters from the GI Joe, lineup that you would normally expect. It's sad.
Also,
I mean, there's some good episodes in here, but obviously, if you've watched this for a while, I mean, we ranked a lot of these episodes really low because they're just like, it's early in the show. They're still trying to get their feet, and actually get to a point where they become, I don't know, Star Trek Next Generation season 3 onwards.
No, true. I mean, guys, if any of you have ever worked on an animation series or anything like that, 10 episodes is a lot of episodes. It's a lot of work. Puts a lot of strain on the team. There's a lot of deadlines. There's a lot of stuff that happens. And it's good to see that the show's story, or should I say writing, kind of improves or gets stronger, and that some of the characterization kind of gets stronger throughout the show, and that it starts to hit its stride. And it's sad that it doesn't have much longer to go before it's finished, because they really do hit a good vibe. And I would have liked to have seen what happens with this going further. I would have liked to have seen what happens to Firefly. You see, I can only imagine that the design of this Firefly, for example, and the design of Zartan and all that stuff that we got, are these like initial designs, and that we will see these characters come back and look the way they're supposed to. And the hint that I have for that is that characters like Destro, we see Destro unmasked. Then in the episode we see him being masked. So then he appears that way. Scrap Iron, we'll see Scrap Iron.
Yeah, he becomes Scrap Iron.
He becomes Scrap Iron.
And they do. You get these introduction of other characters, like when they're at that hospital in the same episode with Scrap Iron and Destro. So over time, it's
Is that you?
So over time, they kind of they're setting things up, but they just weren't given the opportunity to pay off all the setup.
And so that's why I think, like, had the series gone on a little bit longer, we would have seen a more refined design for Firefly, and I think that's very much in the cards, because if you look at I think this was the 30th anniversary toy line that they did for this. I could be wrong, but it's the Sky Striker came out in the same wave as this, or the same year as this, more or less. And so they had Tunnel Rat, they had Ripcord, they had Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Zartan. We'll get into that. In fact, I don't want to say anything about Zartan because I want us to wait for us to get to that episode. And they had the Firefly figure, and the Firefly, also Law and Order. And so Law and Order is kind of got that. His card art, if I'm not mistaken, was the animated series card art, but the figure is very much the Law and Order that we kind of know and love. So I feel like some of those designs, they were just like, that's where it was going to get to with the series. Anyway, I don't want to say anything else. I almost dropped a massive spoiler for a show that's like, 10 years old now, that everybody has watched. But let's try to keep it real on the show, as much as possible. yeah. So what did everybody think? I want to start with Andrew because you're our guest.
Oh, thank you.
What did you think of the episode? Yeah, it's a pleasure, bro. Got you.
Loved it. Of course, with this series, like I said, I've never seen all of them, but I'm definitely going to go back and start now. Especially watching this one. The technology, I like it with the Baroness's glasses where she scanned, Kelly, and it's like, Cobra will remember you. You'll be rewarded. And it's like, oh, wow, check that out. And of course, the whole stuff with the truck where you make it camouflage to fit in with Cobra or Joe or just whatever. That stuff was good. The dialogue, of course, again, Baroness, just her cold-heartedness, just she don't negotiate with the enemy. So you could drop him off the sky cart, don't care. And it does. I mean, they each drop the other one off. So it's like a Scarlet Falls and Mindbender Falls. It's like, wow. Then, of course, Firefly and his just demented talk to himself, just truly on the edge of just being psychotic, but he still holds his form. I can understand about the mask part. I guess to me, I was so overwhelmed by his character that I saw it, but it just didn't dawn on me to like wait, because sometimes it's kind of like some of the ones you see where he doesn't have it. So it's like, was that a misframe, with the mask being over it or not? I didn't know. But of course, then right at the very end, the Snake Eyes fight where he drags his sword as he's walking up. Oh my gosh, that was just so freaking that one gave me chills. That one I was like, is there a beef between these two? Like, like serious beef, or is he just trying to intimidate Firefly by, oh, here comes the silent ninja that saves the day and kicks everybody's butt. And of course, again, his fast pitch with the when Firefly again tries to throw one of the small incendiaries, and he just catches it, does the whole baseball boom, turn around. The only thing that's kind of disappointing is Snake Eyes being the ninja. It's kind of like your sixth sense didn't tell you that he was like still lurking behind the crates. It's like, come on, man. He just didn't go away that quickly. But and of course, then the fight in the helicopter between Firefly and with Barbecue, where he kind of comes to his realization that obviously Cobra is not what he thinks Cobra is. He realizes what they are, because the whole episode, he's blaming Joe. He's watching the news media things. He's saying, you guys are bad, that kind of stuff. And then he realizes at the end that obviously Cobra is a farce, a sham. So mine, I would give this. I'm gonna give it. I really liked it. I'm gonna give it 4.5. I really liked it.
Oh hell yeah!
Wow, boom! There you have it. I wonder what Stephen would give it. Rob, what is your review?
I think overall it was a fun episode. It kind of it all comes together. We get some cool cameos. Firefly is really awesome in this, and as Andrew said, Baroness is just cold-hearted. Like she really they need Mindbender, but at the same time she's like, I really don't care. Do whatever you want. She's gonna die too. I think overall, yeah, it's cool. I'd probably give it, but do I like it more than 20 questions? Okay, I'm going to give it a 4. I think I'm going to give it the same score as the old episode. I think it's probably one of the more cooler ones that we've watched so far in Renegades.
Oh, I agree. It's
it's one of those situations that they roll up into where it's actually an interesting situation, as opposed to like, it's a biker gang and it's harassing the town. The sheriff has to learn how to be a hero and be a real sheriff. Well, this is like the entire town has to come together, to kind of like face this problem that they're coming up against. And Barbecue's suggested history of Firefly as well. It's quite compelling.
Cool. We got a nice hot take from a few hot takes here, actually. So I keep grabbing my mouse, but I'm on my laptop.
Grab your mouth.
Darren's I like Darren's. This sword is so heavy. Huff, huff. I had to carry it all day.
I thought this was very sweet. This is aimed at you, Mr. Creech. I hope you know I'm a big fan of your voice, Mr. Copperhead. I wish it was canon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really didn't think it was that, but thank you so much. I really appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
Shot, dude. I think it's well deserved, bro. Your voice is awesome for Copperhead. In fact, when is the Copperhead Classified coming out? It should be soonish.
It's out.
Around now.
It's out.
Oh, is it
it's
out?
out already?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think I got mine about 2 weeks ago. I think about 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Crazy. Well, that's awesome. Are you happy with him?
Oh, absolutely. I've
Okay, good.
got two, one sealed in box and one out for play. So absolutely.
I feel like you're the only man that Hasbro had to impress with Copperhead, but I'm sure Copperhead has more fans out there. But I always see you as
I hope so.
the Uber fan. Anyway, there was a nice deep take here. Dabuya J actually mentioned too much
WJ.
ripoff. WJ. Too much a ripoff of Batman's Firefly at that point, or a Dreadnought, just another nut with a flamethrower and explosives. I agree. I do feel like it is exactly that. I'm sorry if I'm coming across as an apologist or whatever, but I feel like this series needed Firefly to be like that. But yes, it is a
Well,
copy.
it's a valid take for sure. I mean, they kind of they went to I suppose the stereotype well of like what is a person who sets fires. I suppose Firefly is more than just a guy who sets fires, though. He also does explosives. But at the same time, yes,
And-
the show is trying to do something different with these characters,
yeah, so
which
I would
won't
actually
always
compliment.
necessarily hit with everyone.
True. I just feel like they borrowed from the right place with this.
Hmm.
I mean, unfortunately, it's a trope. It's a trope because America's had to deal with the tragedy of the Unabomber, and certain like psychopaths, throughout the years, and so there's quite a lot of those people have inspired a lot of characters, and those characters have gone on to become very popular because a lot of people were very interested in what was going on and all that stuff. So that's a cyclical thing. But hey, we needed him to be like that in GI Joe, or not? We needed. It's nice to see him that way. So thank you, WJ. It's good to hear that. And then Moonlight just mentioning Moonlight 47 just to be a broken record for once. The politics in both episodes was interesting. Yes, so that was actually very nice. Also, nice that so the original show is being a little bit more obvious with it. I feel this one, maybe I don't know, is it just me? But I just felt like it was a bit more subtle. It wasn't as heavy-handed with that with the commentary. But yeah, so.
It was just enough to kind of like be interesting to adults who watch the show, I think. Like it's not like this is how the situation is and this is how you fix it. Or, it's not just like throwing the problem out there and being like, we know what politics is. It's just kind of like going, this is an issue in the world. Maybe
Go
think about
Google
it, while you're watching the show. Yeah.
Yeah. But just
But
to
Paul,
reiterate,
what is yours? Yeah, reiterate your
yeah,
score.
so you're a
We
4.
haven't got your score yet. Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew is
Andrew
4 and
loves
a
it.
half. You're 4. Steven hasn't had a chance to watch it because he's been doing this awesome edit on the cool thing that we shot last night because he's been excited about that. So nice. Thank you, Steve. Mine would be, I'm going to give it a 4 as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I know I mentioned earlier, like, I couldn't remember anything because of whatever, but that's me for the show. That's the whole, it's Firefly. I did want to like make a big fuss about the Firefly design because that was something I really wanted to talk about. But it is a cool episode. I also feel like it could have been a really cool movie. Maybe not necessarily a GI Joe movie, but I feel like this could have been a cool movie. So
It's a cool concept, yeah, overall.
Yeah. So that was quite
It has
rad.
a lot of meat to keep you thinking, like after watching it.
Also, like that, this kind of reminds me that Firefly doesn't really have a foil. There's no rival for Firefly really, because if you watch the cartoon, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, or should I say Storm Shadow and Spirit, you always got Duke and Destro, or Flint and Destro, or Duke and Cobra Commander. You got all these like little like weird kind of long
like
distance
pair-ups.
good guy. Yeah, these pair ups. But like, who would you pair Firefly up against? Who's Firefly's enemy? And
I don't know.
barbecue's
Lightfoot?
a good answer. But yes, actually, I would say
Lightfoot would be a
characters.
good one. But then there's no like direct conflict, though. You can't really have a direct conflict with Firefly because his thing is laying explosives or blowing things up. So it's more like you're dealing with the consequences of what he's done, or you're trying to stop
Yeah.
what he's doing. So I don't think you can really have like a direct like head to head with someone else from GI Joe. You could literally put him up against anyone, really.
You could, but if I think about a movie that I watched recently, it's an old action movie.
Oh, the 2010s.
Old. No, not 2010s. Actually 1990s.
Whoa.
And it's got to do with a bomber blowing stuff up. And I'm trying to remember the damn name of the movie now because I always do
I'm
this.
so
And I'm like,
glad you brought it up.
and so I wanted to say it's Chain Reaction, but it's not Chain Reaction. Anyway,
No, that
okay.
was
Oh,
like
Speed,
fires.
Speed,
Speed.
Yes.
Speed. So in Speed, that is kind of that's a really cool way of creating a relationship between, like a character and his villain. That has to do with explosives. So I kind of feel like Firefly is kind of Firefly and Barbecue is a great kind of story waiting to happen, and I feel like this show is really like creates a little bit of a foundation for that relationship. In that, there's the idea that Barbecue could have been scarred or was involved in a fire that Firefly caused, and he wants revenge, and like that kind of thing's cool. Like it forces them to have a fist fight on top of a building, that's on
Building's
fire.
on fire.
One of them's being played by Bruce Willis, that kind of thing. So
You decide which
I don't
one.
know. Yeah. So, technically, that's right. Beachhead was Firefly's foil in the pursuit of Cobra file cards and posters. Actually, yes, and I totally forgot about that because in that
But that's
pursuit
kind
of
of like
Cobra
a
thing,
boring. I mean, like it's essentially like it's the same. At least like toy wise, it's just like it's gray Firefly versus green Firefly. That to me at least that doesn't sound like a very interesting matchup.
well, it's Predator Firefly to be fair, because he has a Predator helmet. Yeah, he's like, you want ugly mother fluffer.
Do
But
push-ups before you do fires.
I totally forgot about that matchup because I immediately just adopted all those characters into like this like mold that I had for them sort of set up because I was so excited about their release. That my Beachhead was just basically Beachhead, but just hardcore Beachhead. And that my Firefly became like the leader of the Alley Vipers. That's kind of what I made him because the Alley Vipers in that line was so cool and they had a vehicle. And I kind of loved the idea that, Firefly was the squad leader for those Alley Vipers and stuff. Anyway,
That's a cool
that's a
idea.
conversation for a different topic, idea topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's I'm dying to hear what Steven has to say about this episode. He's not going to say it now because he hasn't watched the episode yet. But he does drop this cool
He'll tell
little
us
knowledge
eventually.
bomb. Oh, what's up, Eric Teixeira?
Yeah, and thank you, Jester319, for loving our videos.
Yeah.
Also, too, Chasing 80s made a comment, and I want to tell him thank you as well, too, for the comment that he made.
Yeah, great chat,
Aw.
lads. Lovely listening to Andrew and 2 GI Joe episodes. One I knew very well, and one that was new for me. Well, that's always the cool thing about these. Like, I mean, we're introducing you to new episodes. We're being introduced to new episodes. I mean, I haven't watched any Renegades, so I'm glad that other people are taking this journey too.
I enjoyed that with this. I get to sort of pseudo convince Celia to watching the show with me because I can just put it on and then I'll be like, oh, watch it with me. Come check it out. Like, and she's been a great sport about it. She's not like, oh my God, I don't want to watch that. It's not My Little Pony or The Simpsons. She's like, oh, that's cool. This is interesting. Oh, that's funny. Or she'll comment on something like, wonder what party they're going to. So that's a lot of fun. So, talking about introducing people that are new, it's great that at home I get to enjoy it with somebody that's where it's new for them as well. Because it's a whole cultural thing as well. Also, watch the new Ninja Turtles, everybody. It's really, really great. No, this is not sponsored content because I really like the Turtles movie. And yeah, does anybody have anything else that they want to jump in that they think is important, maybe about this episode, a last episode, or just in general?
Well, before we move on, people in the comments have also been kind of like going crazy with their own suggestions of matchups for Firefly. Eric Teixeira Teixeira suggested
Teixeira,
Tripwire. He
yeah.
thought there was a
Sorry, I didn't
Teixeira.
mean to correct you.
No, please correct me. He thought that was a good matchup. And Chasing 80s Toys suggests Storm Shadow. Because he says he finds Firefly without honor, and later when Storm is on the Joe side, he could be a good option there.
Well, there's
But
that,
then
and then
Master Sun 42 points out it's odd because the ninja has no honor. So why would he actually find him to be without honor?
he's
See.
right. Ninjas don't have honor, but if you're all part of the same family, then you just get annoyed with shit like that, and you want to sort it out. Maybe housekeeping. The way I see it is also just to play on. If we had to make Storm Shadow and Firefly rivals, which I mean, it does make sense.
That would be
Firefly
cool because he also
was-
has like a very intimate relationship with like his methods, having been
Yeah.
on the same side with him.
Yeah, well, he's the faceless master, and then I hope I'm not wrong when I say that, but he's the faceless master, and then there's also the whole clan thing where the I think the Arashikage are meant to be Iga clan or aligned with the Iga clan somewhere, I think, but I know that one of I think Firefly's Koga is actually secretly working for the Koga clan, and then their whole ninja enterprise is actually the Night Creepers or something that splits into that. I could be wrong. I could be getting my wires crossed. It could also just be what I want it to be that is coming out now out of my voice. So I could be factually completely wrong. But that's where I'm at. But there is some kind of connection where actually Firefly was spying on the Arashikage the whole time. There was something like that somewhere in some comic book. I could be, like I said, misremembering. So my eyes are closed. I'm trying to find it in my memory.
Someone will tell us later on, I'm sure.
Yes, please correct
You're wrong,
me.
Paul.
Tell me I'm wrong. But anyway, that was a long walk for a small glass of water. Basically, what I wanted to get at is it could purely be a mission of loose ends where Storm Shadow has to kill Firefly purely because he's a threat. Like, he knows a lot about the organization. He is an enemy. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not about honor or anything like that. It comes down purely to knowledge is power. Firefly has too much knowledge of the Arashikage. He needs to die. He's not Arashikage anymore. He knows too much. He needs to die. It's like kind of that makes sense, and that could be a very interesting kind of episode by episode seasonal show. Only on Netflix. Will the ninja catch the bomber? Ooh, find out in the next episode. Intrigue, boobas. Ninjas running around everywhere. So it could be great. Thank you for that suggestion, Chris. Yeah. So yeah. Cool. Thank you, Eric Teixeira, for sharing that. The only reason I sort of have an idea of how to pronounce that is because I knew a girl with the same surname.
Teixeira. Portuguese. Yeah, it is a difficult language. I watched a couple of people try to learn Portuguese, and it sounds tough. People who grew up speaking Portuguese are very fortunate because you don't have to learn it.
You don't have to learn it; you speak it. Yeah, I've got a few. God, I had how bad this sounds, but in South Africa there are a lot of Portuguese people. In high school, we had I had a few Portuguese friends.
Oh, absolutely. Tons
classmates
in
and
Cape
stuff.
Town
We all
as well.
did. We all did. We know there's lots of awesome Portuguese people. We know we have Portuguese festivals here in South Africa, the Sito Land and things like that.
Nando's.
I don't think we have. Well, Nando's was actually started by Portuguese. It's a Portuguese recipe. Anyway, we love Portuguese here in South Africa. Just saying.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard even to French speakers. Yeah. Yeah, enjoy that, Eric. Just saying. Especially if you find that they come from
You
Paris.
have one up over them.
Anyway.
So what's the week ahead looking like for you guys? What's anything to look forward to?
Work.
Okay, that sounds really cool.
I know, right?
No exciting deliveries, Andrew. No exciting toys dropping in from the sky for you.
Oh yeah,
Nothing
absolutely.
cool like that.
Absolutely, definitely got stuff rolling in off of from eBay and some other stuff. I don't know if you guys know that Transformers Source had a sale this weekend. I think it ends at midnight. tonight. I don't know what time zone in the US it would end, but at any rate, if you're into Transformers and you want to score some, they've got some pretty good sales on them. So I picked up some. And then I was watching a YouTuber's video and I didn't know about this company at all. And it's called Kits Concept. Maybe you guys have heard of them before.
Its concept, no.
I did not. They predominantly deal with Robotech, and they have got a slew of Robotech, of course, Veritex, light up Veritex, and now they're actually coming out, I believe, with 6-inch figures. This company is. So if you're interested in that stuff, definitely give them a check. Check them out and see what you think.
Oh,
I'll do that. I'll have a look because I've seen there's a line of 1/18 scale Robotech figures, and there's a Japanese company that's doing 1/18 scale Macross figures, but I don't know what the destiny of that is. I know for the Robotech stuff, it's Robotech that like.
See, there's a new comic series as well, or at least miniseries based on Robotech as well.
Yep, I think Titan is the name of the company that's making those.
Yeah, Titan Comics, the British comic book company, is doing a cool
Thank
series.
goodness. Took it away from Harmony Gold.
Yes, anything away from Harmony Gold.
Well, Titan's been doing pretty good. They also managed to acquire the license for Conan the Barbarian recently as well, which they took away from Marvel. And they not just took the license, they took the writer. So the guy who was writing it for Marvel is now writing it for Titan.
You mean the original writer? Because that's
the current writer. So the guy who was writing it for Marvel, I think it's not Zeb Wells. It's a guy summoned Jim Zub, I think it is. He's done a lot of really cool like fantasy based comic series before. Skull Crushers, I think, or Skull Breakers is one that I read that was really funny.
Yes, I've actually heard of that comic. I've never.
You've never read. You should read it. Do it.
I don't know the artist. I'll also just to respond to Eric Teixeira. He's from Brazil. Awesome. One of my Portuguese friends also from Brazil, Victor. And he's a big fan. Him and I are big fans of Saint Seiya. So that's cool because it was really popular in Brazil.
Love your Zodiac TV shows. Eh?
I love my shiny men. Yeah.
Shining men wearing shining armor is what he means to say.
Yes, that too. And I love it when they cry. I love it when they it actually doesn't. I'm not making it sound cool, but it's one of the coolest.
I love shiny men who cry.
The women in that show are great. There we go. That's what I'm going to say to try and no. But seriously, Sensei is an amazing show. Hyoga,
Eric agrees with you.
He's like Hyoga. Yes, yeah. My favorite is Phoenix Iki. I love Iki, and I also love Hyoga. Hyoga's great.
And Moonlight wants to know if you've seen the recent Sensei live action.
I have not yet.
I saw the trailer for it. I was well because I have no history with Sensei. Like I wasn't sure. It looked very, to me as someone looking from the outside, it looks very camp and cringe, with very bad special effects. So I hope it's good. I hope Sensei fans appreciate it. And it's not a Netflix anime adaptation.
Oh god, that CG thing is horrible. As a fan, the trailer looked like I was gonna give it a chance, and then I saw a bigger trailer, and I was like, no. But I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it to have an opinion.
Gotta take the good with the bad.
A friend of mine is also a big Sensei fan. She's seen it, and she said it was horrible. I like
maybe they don't cry enough.
Yeah, they probably don't. They didn't. I thought it was pretty good form. I thought it was a possible form. Was the live action Sensei that they did the Japanese form, where I thought the suit design was really interesting for on screen. It looked really good on screen. They just messed with the story a little bit too much, and they made it a little bit too floaty in some sections. I think maybe making it a bit more kinetic, maybe playing around with it a little bit more would have made it a better film. But I thought that was more accurate to visually accurate to what it should have been. But anyway, this is not saying Seiya.
Oh well, this is high praise from Moonlight as we close up the topic of Sensei. He says the live action one looked on par with Dragon Ball Evolution. If you have seen Dragon Ball Evolution, you know exactly what that says.
That's high praise.
High praise.
Oh my word, that's a horrible film.
So, Paul, that's what you're
Uh,
doing this week. You're watching Saint Seiya. You're watching more Rookie.
I'm playing
What
Armored
else you
Core,
up to?
bro. That's what I'm doing. That's
You're
what
a
I'm
video
doing.
game nut. Okay.
I'm a big nut for Armored Core, and damn, that game is really good. I will share more next week when I have a few more days, and I also have to. Anyway, I will comment on that
Do
more
it.
on our next episode. But yeah, I better run off because my battery's gonna die. So let's do this properly. Andrew, thank you
Yes.
very much for joining us on our episode. You know, you're always welcome. You're an awesome guest, and we had a lot of fun with you today. So thank you for making time for us, and it was rad, my dude.
Hey, thanks for having me
So-
on, and definitely give me a belated birthday present for being on. So I certainly appreciate it.
Oh hell
Cool.
yeah! No, it's been
Yeah.
awesome, and I'm glad you enjoyed the episodes. Well, the Renegades, and I hope you watch more of it.
Oh, absolutely. I plan on. I don't know if I want to start a series all at the beginning or wait till you guys finish doing your reviews and then go back and watch them. But I'm definitely going to get them one way or the other.
Hell yeah,
Cool.
do it.
Hey, if you
Darren,
can,
before we leave, Darren brings up Ahsoka. I think we should leave that for the next episode.
Oh, yes. Oh, we
I think
should.
Paul and I have opinions,
we have opinions.
differing opinions, probably.
But at least we've watched both episodes, so that's
That's
the thing.
true. So we are
Yes.
watching them, and we are.
It's
staying
not
up to
like
date.
Secret Invasion where I watched the first episode kind of in pieces because I couldn't enjoy that shit for nothing. What a horrible series. Like, I'm not jumping on the internet bandwagon there. I actually thought something
No,
was
no.
wrong with
If you
me. I
don't
was
like something, that's your opinion, Paul. Yeah.
no,
and
I get that. But
you
you know,
don't have to be
like how
contrary just because the internet is.
exactly, and I didn't want to. I just finished watching that show, and I was like, "Is something wrong with me? Like, what didn't I get about that?" And then I asked people around me, and they also thought it was like shit. And then I switched on the internet, and thank God the internet came to my rescue because it turns out it is actually crap, ladies and gentlemen. So even Screen Crush has trouble saying good stuff about that. Sorry to name drop you, Screen Crush. Very cool YouTube show, and also what's that? Spoilers, heavy spoilers. Also a really great YouTube channel. Anyway, Andrew, thank you so much. Rob, you rock as always, my dude.
Absolutely,
And
Paul. Has anyone ever told you rock? Because I just
not
did.
lately. Thank you, my man.
You definitely rock.
Hell yeah!
rock.
And thanks to everyone for
Yeah.
joining us live.
Mhm.
Enjoyed the interactions, and I hope everyone enjoyed joining us for this journey on 20 questions in Firefight.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Yes. Remember to watch us on the next episode. I'm actually literally killing time to try and find the little video that we play when we sign these things out. So I need one of you guys to run interference. And also, quickly, yeah. I mean, we never do this. If you liked it, hit the like button.
Hell yeah!
It's awesome. Yay! Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Subscribing lets us know you care.
Yeah, and you want to see more from us in the future. And if you really care, join the Berg Force. Absolutely incredible group of people who keep the lights on, keep us going, allow us to make streams and make cool content and get toys for reviews. And if you
Yes,
absolutely
thank
love
you.
us, you can buy some of the merch. We have some really
Ooh.
cool shirts.
So
Paul
there's
apparently is
Patreon.
designing new ones. So
Trying to.
in the next
Yeah.
10 years or so, you're going to get cool new merch. Don't worry, guys. It's coming soon.
Oh, dude, I'm trying to figure out all
Paul
of this
is
stuff. I'm having trouble
too
uploading
busy.
designs.
Didn't you
No,
just do
no.
a new
Well,
shirt?
Didn't I
there's
just
too much
do?
on your plate.
Didn't you
too
just
much
do a
I
new
did.
shirt?
I feel like it, right? But that was actually a while ago.
Not
And
the
I've been
Renegade
trying to.
one. I thought you did another shirt here recently and was only doing a limited time on it too. Like
Oh
the
yes,
Renegade
yeah,
shirt.
yeah. I did a Renegade
Oh,
shirt.
there
That
we
was
go.
a limited
Paul
edition
has
one.
done
Yes, yeah.
stuff. Okay.
So
I knew
maybe
I had faith.
yeah. So I'm just trying to make that work. And with that said, everybody stay awesome, stay classy, keep playing with your toys, and yo,
Oh,
Joe
Joe.
Ooh,
Berg. And then I gotta play the thing. I gotta play the. There we go.